Hello and welcome to another reading wrap-up, this one featuring the month of March. I feel like there was probably a better way to say that, but nonetheless, we are here and we are ready to unpack the details as always, and not as always even. I feel like I've done this one month, but we're going to start with the stats for this month. So I will pop up the stats I'm looking at here on the screen, but it looks like we've only read 6 books this month, which was a bit of a letdown, but I've one I'm close to finishing that I am going to talk about with you guys. So 6.5 is what we're going to go with. So let's look at the moods for the 6 books. My top mood was tense, the second was emotional, and the last was dark. Which is kind of surprising. Tense and dark are not my 2 favorite things, but now that I think back to some books I read, it is adding up. But yeah, not usually my favorite categories. Emotional is always up there though. Let's look at the genres that we dabbled in this month. Top 3 are actually tied between YA, romance, and fantasy, so many of the books fell into those categories. Surprise, surprise. This month, clearly the library was my best friend because 4 books I checked out from the library, 1 ebook was also from the library, and then the last book was an audiobook. So, like I said, me and the library were like this. We are that close, honestly. And our last stat for March is that my average star rating was a 3.04. So, pretty average, not amazing, not absolutely terrible, but let's get into the nitty-gritty details. The first book I read this month was Scythe by Neal Shusterman. This one ended up being a 3-star from me. This story is a post-morality society, utopia, dystopia, depending on how you look at it, that has people who are professional scythes that are in charge of population control. I found this to be a very interesting, strong idea. However, I just don't think this story was for me. I felt like our villains and our main characters, it was very black and white and who's bad, who's good. It was very good versus evil, very clearly, strictly. There was no nuance to it, which I feel like this concept really has a lot of great area to explore. And in my heart of hearts, I have to just say it was boring for me. I really do like character-driven stories, and I feel like this was clearly very plot-driven. It was so well thought out, like the world, the society was very thought-provoking. It just wasn't a favorite for me. Moving upward though, I am going to say upward because next I read Ready or Not by Cara Bastone. I gave this one a 4-star. This book is an accidental pregnancy that leads to a friends to lovers romance, finding love in unexpected places. I ate this one up, you guys, and I have to say this audio was top tier. Her rent was absolutely due when she did this one. It was amazing. I felt really involved in the story. This is my first surprise accidental pregnancy trope that I've ever read, and I was pleasantly surprised with it. I do have to say, all the characters were wonderful. I really liked Eve, but the star of the show was Shep. Shep might just be a perfect book boyfriend. He is the king of acts of service, of physical touch. He is the man that every woman wants. I totally get the appeal of this story. I think it was done to a T. I think for me, I just didn't get that full 5-star feeling. But you guys, pick this one up. Even if you don't think that this trope is for you, I think it was done so well here that you will enjoy this story. That's my 2 cents. Next, I picked up The Fake Mate by Lana Ferguson. This one ended up being a 2-star from me. This is a romance between an alpha and an omega who start fake dating at their place of work. They are doctors together at a hospital, and they each have their own reasons to want to fake date, but obviously we know where that leads. I'm gonna be honest, this one had me in the first 25 to 30%. It had me. I was enthralled. I was reading it every night, reading copious amounts at a time. But oh boy, did it drop off from there. I think the main problem here is that I read Bride and I was positively, absolutely obsessed, and I wanted more like that. And this is the only recommendation I really saw floating around that was similar, and it did not serve. I'm really feeling like maybe Bride was just an outstanding book in this category, and I just liked that. I don't necessarily like omegaverse, perhaps. I'm not against trying more in that subgenre, but this one definitely let me down. I think the characters got together too quickly. The tension was released too soon, so it's like, where are we even gonna go from here? I felt like she was trying to write the love hypothesis, but make it wolves, make it doctors instead. And I don't think that served it well. I think it was trying to be something it wasn't. And it was 400 pages. It was far too long for me. Altogether, it felt questionable. There was a lot of smut in this one, but it didn't feel like it was serving our plot. And as much as I enjoy a spicy moment, I think it was overdone, and I just don't think this book had it all figured out. I will say she sets up a great story. I think the first 30% was set up to be wonderful. It just dropped very quickly for me. So again, those are my 2 cents, but I need a good recommendation that's like Bride, but it needs to be like a 5-star. You know what I mean? Next, I read The Naturals by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. This one ended up being a 2.5 from me. This book is Criminal Minds fanfic, but make them 15 years old. And you have to dispel some belief to, jump into this one. Let's just preface this by saying I feel like this was scary, spooky, and not in a fun way. And I don't like Criminal Minds very much. And I still picked this up. So that is my mistake. This probably was not going to be up my alley no matter what I did. But alas, I still read it, and I will give you my thoughts. This felt too much like the Inheritance games. And I know she wrote the Natural series first, I'm pretty sure. But it's the same game we're playing. The characters definitely feel more well-rounded in Inheritance game than in this one. I know it's the first in the series, so maybe if I read more, I would enjoy it more, but I just don't think I like this type of content. It's not for me, but if you are a Criminal Minds junkie, I think you'd enjoy picking this one up. It was a really quick read and I was hooked. I wanted to know what happened nonetheless, so you would likely enjoy it if you enjoy those things. Next, I picked up A Fate Inked in Blood by Danielle Jensen. This one ended up being a 3.75 from me. I was so excited to pick this one up. This is a Norse mythology romantasy with forbidden love, prophecies, and meddling gods. I loved the concepts in this one. It was super interesting, and it takes off from page 1. I know sometimes fantasies, they're giving you a lot of world building at the beginning. This one, it is like a train you've just jumped on. The plot is taken off and you're going with it. I really enjoyed it, and as much as I do have some qualms and why it didn't end up in that 4 to 5-star range, I enjoyed this one, and I actually enjoyed our characters. I found them lovable. I cared about what was going on with them, and I found it interesting. I love the concept of the gods and how some people in this world are fated, some are unfated, and it's really interesting. Like, I feel like the series is going to get better and better, so I hope we're starting at a 3.75 and we're going to go up from there. The main factor that held it back from that 4 to 5-star range was that our girl was just a little immature at times, and I'm okay with most of that because she's young, like she doesn't know what she's doing, but she is always thinking about our mans. You think it's okay to say dong?
Yeah.
You think I should?
Yeah, I think it's fine.
Because it's the truth.
Yeah.
Okay. Miss Girl is always and only thinking about Bjorn's dong. And to be honest, I love tension. I love forbidden romance. Like, I'm here for it. I'm here for their banter. Their banter was great. It's those moments when we're just in her head and she's trying to do war strategy and she's like, oh my gosh, I just can't get him out of my head. Like, girl, could you? Because this is your life on the line, okay? I'm sure he's delicious. I'm sure he's all you can think about. But it was just to a point that I was like, this is borderline cringy, and I need her to, like, focus up a little bit. Like, it just wasn't endearing. It wasn't the actual spice. It wasn't the actual banter. It was like her in her head being like, I'm obsessed with him. You know what I mean? Y'all, I just have to call it like it is, and it was too much, okay? So that's what held it back. But the actual content, the actual world building was all enthralling, fun. I can't wait for the next one nonetheless. The last book I finished this month is the only one I have physically, and it is Where the Dark Stands Still by Abby Poranek. This is a debut author, debut book, and basically this one is about Liska, and she has magic that she wants to be rid of. So she goes into the spirit forest on a special day to try to get her wish granted, and she ends up running into a demon who she promises a year of servitude to if she can get her wish at the end. I ended up giving this book a 3-star. I feel like she was trying very hard to make this world feel like Hal's Moving Castle and our main man feel like Hal. I really got those vibes strongly, and then I was like, maybe I'm reaching, and then I went and looked at some reviews after I finished it, and other people felt the same. So I'm like, that's definitely an element. But she does credit a lot of her ideas coming from Polish folktales. For some reason, like, it just didn't totally hit for me. I feel like there were things done really well and then things not. I feel like, I don't know, I didn't feel super connected to the characters, but they did have depth. Didn't really totally buy into him being Hal because you can't be Hal. You know, you just can't reach that magnitude. I felt like the pacing was really like slow, kind of like a cozy at the beginning, and then the end just rushed through, and I felt like we rushed through everything important in this story. Along with that, I didn't love the ending. I just felt like I wanted it to go a different way than it did. And we did have side characters in this, but I felt like, yeah, they weren't given a ton of depth, and I liked them, but I wanted them to have more. It's hard to say, like, just things in this novel didn't completely come together for me. There were elements I liked. I liked the world building. I liked the idea of this forest. And I thought that part was well thought out. It's just the actual characters and the actual pacing. So it's a debut novel. I would definitely be open to picking something up from her in the future. This just wasn't the top of the top, you know? But there's nothing wrong with that. The last book that I'm going to talk to you about, I'm halfway through. I am going to talk about it in this video because it's an arc. It comes out in April on the 2nd, so I want to talk about it so you guys have it fresh in your mind if you want to end up picking it up. It is Just for a Summer by Abby Jimenez. I am, like I said, about 50% of the way through, and I'm really enjoying this. I think I will end up finishing this before the end of the month, but obviously I filmed this before the end of the month so I can get it up sooner. This is such a cute story so far, but it does have a lot of heavy hitting topics as well. It shows complex family dynamics, found family, adoption, foster care, and it deals with mental health and trauma. So there's a lot of heavy topics in there, but also at the core, it's such a sweet romance. It's dual POV, and they have a little online meet cute and end up going on these cute dates together, and our guy is very upbeat, sweet, giving golden retriever, but the synopsis of this book is basically these two people are cursed with dating people, and then when they break up, the person that they break up with always finds their forever person. They find the one after they date. So these two both have that trait, and they decide to make a pact to date each other so that when they break up, they can both find the one. I am eating it up, you guys. I'm not going to give it a star rating, but if you want to keep up on that and my extensive full review, you can check out my Goodreads because I will definitely rate it there. But I just wanted to put that in your mind. It's such a cute summery vibe. Yeah, I wanted to let you guys know so that you could pick it up on its release date. Okay, everyone, we are going to finish off this video with this new element that I am loving including, which is my March favorites. These are favorites from the month that are not books necessarily. They can be reading related, but they are not books. They're other things from my month, and I'm going to kick it off with one that is so near and dear to me. It's so important. Avatar. The Last Airbender version and also the cartoon version. We're talking OG here. This is so good. I watched it for the first time a few years ago. I swear I was 21 or 22, and I fell in love with it. You guys, if you are older and you never watched this when you were young, it is still worth watching because it's not just the nostalgic vibes. It is so good. Such a great story. I love the characters in it. I think the messages are so amazing. It is extremely well done. Like, please watch it if you haven't watched it and then talk to me about it. And I have to say, being who I am, being an enemies to lover gal, spoiler real quick if you haven't seen it, skip ahead like 15 seconds, Cara and Zuko were supposed to be together. Like, be so for real. Aang and Cara never made sense. May and Zuko, please. Please. Anyways, okay. We'll move on from there. But if you have thoughts on that, DM me, comment about it, let's talk. I just don't want to spoil it for everybody. Moving on. Next thing I have to talk about is also near and dear to my heart. It is those Justin peanut butter cups. If you've not had them, the dark chocolate or the regular, you are missing out. They are so good. I would choose them over Reese's every single time. I don't know what's in them that makes them so amazing, but I finally got back to eating them this month, and yeah, it's a problem. They're good. Also this month, I will try to include some photos. My husband and I went to this huge book sale. All the paperbacks were $1, all of the hardbacks were $2, and they had over 75K books. It was this huge event, and I should have really filmed it, but we'd never been, we didn't know what to expect, and it was crazy busy. If you do want to see all the books I got from it, I could totally do a video. Let me know in the comments if you want to see all the books that they had, but it was so much fun. I loved going, and we ended up getting like 30 something books for under $50. It was amazing. I wish it was happening every month, but it's really good for my wallet that it's not. Nonetheless, it was super fun. The next one is far less exciting than some of the ones I've mentioned already. I've been into smoothies, y'all. I've been making my smoothies. It's such a good way to get in your fruits and veg. I think we can all say we struggle with that sometimes, maybe. You probably don't. It's just me out here. But a smoothie is a great way to get all those in. It's warming up a tiny bit here. So I've been loving my peanut butter berry smoothie. It's been making life worth living, you know what I mean? And last is a really exciting one to talk about, and it's so weird to talk about too, but in such a great way. This month I hit 500 subscribers, and I'm just so thankful for each and every one of you that come to my channel and watch my videos and spend some time with me. It really means the world to me, and I'm so excited to celebrate. I'm hosting a live next weekend. I think I'm going to put it down here what date it is and what time exactly, so I'm giving you all the good information, but make sure you're checking out my community tab. That's where I keep you up to date, and that's where I do polls a lot of the time to see what you guys want to see or what days work for you, so make sure you check that out as well. I don't want to get too sentimental, but it just is so fun having a group that loves to talk about books and loves to interact. And on my last wrap up, I had like the most comments ever, and it was so fun, you guys. I answer all my comments, so please leave one so that we can interact. I love hearing from you, and I just feel so grateful that I get to share this with you guys. So, saffiness aside, that is the end of my March wrap up. Let me know what you read this month. As always, let me know if you're going to come to the live event. I hope it's a lot of fun. I think we'll do some reading sprints. I'm feeling like a lucky ducky. I don't know what to say, but you know what happens now, as it always does. I gotta love you and leave ya. I'll see you guys in the next one. Cheers.